Alright, so now we're going to look at the Farmer's Walk series. As you can see here, we have farmer's implements, we have cambered bar, we have sandbags, we have kettlebells, we have grippers. What we're going to do is show you a typical Farmer's Walk loading with the implements, and then we're going to show you some unique ways that you can overload the athlete or lifter. Okay, so what we're looking for is just that core strength, bracing effects, that odd object loading where the athlete or the lifter has to adjust with each step. Okay, and we know that with Farmer's Walk, we can load it on the shoulder, we can rack it overhead, we can put it in a Zercher hold, we can put it in a choke hold, we can have it at the sides. So there's a lot of different options for us, and we're going to look at a variety of those options with these different implements. So let's check it out.
Here you see Mike performing a typical farmer's walk. He wants to stride forward, maintain an upright position. As the weight gets heavier, his breathing will become labored. Bracing of the abdominals with each step is essential to controlling the weight. The goal of the one-arm farmer's walk is essentially the same as the two-arm. You want to maintain an upright position and ensure that the side lifting the implement doesn't sag or drop down. The shoulders should remain parallel to the ground, and the athlete should stride forward, bracing on the opposite oblique, trying to maintain an upright position. Here you'll see Mike performing a sandbag kettlebell combination. As you can see, he's not grabbing the sandbag strap, he's grabbing the bag directly, and that's going to develop his crushing grip strength. It's great modification for wrestlers and combat athletes, but it also can be incorporated into any strength program for all athletes. This is an advanced movement. You see Mike is going to push the sandbag overhead and lock it out before he picks up the kettlebell for this combination. So we have an overhead implement with the sandbag and with the kettlebell. As he walks, this is going to be more difficult to balance and brace his abdominals. But the goal is to make sure the shoulders aren't moving all around and they're locked in place with chest up and head forward. As you can see, Mike is going to unevenly load this farmer's walk combination. He's going to lock a sandbag over his head and a kettlebell at his side. There's a transverse bracing effect from the left shoulder to the opposite hip. As you increase the work capacity of the exercise, you increase the benefits to the athlete. This combination shows Mike bear hugging the sandbag while he locks the kettlebell overhead, just working many different combinations. As you saw in the manual, you have many different varieties to choose from and how we load the farmer's walk. Again, Mike is showing a bear hug combination, this time with the kettlebell at his side. Breathing is labored since the weight of the sandbag is pushing directly on his chest. So you want to make sure you're throwing out verbal cues to the athlete to ensure they're getting enough air so that they can continue to perform the exercise at the greatest intensity for the longest duration of time. Here you see that Mike is increasing the weight of the kettlebell because we're decreasing the work capacity demand by only using one implement. Again, unilateral movement requires bracing transversely, and you can see that we're building shoulder stability as well.
So Mike has shown you a lot of different variations. Now we're going to go with adding a gripper into the farmer's walk. And we know that if we close the gripper, we get radial tension up our arm, and we create a co-contraction effect where we're involving more musculature. Okay, the more musculature, the greater tension that we develop, and the more power and strength we can express. Okay, so Mike's going to show you a kettlebell gripper combination in the farmer's walk.
For this farmer's walk combination, Mike's going to be closing an Ironmind gripper throughout the duration of the exercise. What we're doing is increasing the tension on the right side of his body, because we know that the more tension we can create, the more strength we can express. Same combination as we just showed, but this time Mike's going to start in a front rack position and move to an overhead position with the kettlebell. Again, we're just building on the idea of co-contraction. Incorporating more muscle groups will give us more tension, which will give us more strength.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to take two kettlebells in this farmer's walk series, but they're going to be different sizes. And as Mike walks, he's going to be pressing these in an alternating fashion. And the different sized bells are going to create an odd shifting of the hips, okay? And we're going to have to counterbalance that motion as we're walking. All right, let's check it out.
Now Mike is performing a Zercher walk with a cambered bar. As you can see by the implement, it sways, which simulates an odd object. And because we're in a Zercher position, we have a big engagement from the upper back. As always, with the weight pressing directly on Mike's chest, breathing will be labored. Mike is performing some squats at the end of that farmer's walk. As you can see, his torso is upright, his head is forward, his knees are coming out as he squats down. Perfect form.